Winter in the mountains was unforgiving. Snow covered the ground so deeply that even the tallest pine trees seemed to bow under its weight. The wind roared through the valley like a wild animal searching for prey. For most people, surviving in those mountains alone would have been impossible. But Caleb Walker had lived there for years. And now, Abigail lived there too. At first, every day felt strange and uncertain for her. She woke each morning expecting harsh words or cold silence, the kind she had grown used to in Red Hollow after her secret became known. But Caleb was nothing like the people in town. He barely spoke, yet his actions carried more kindness than any words ever could. Every morning before sunrise, he chopped wood and kept the fire burning so the cabin stayed warm for her. When the snow became too deep outside, he cleared a path so she wouldn't slip. When her pregnancy made it hard to carry water, he did it without complaint. He never reminded her that she had been sent there as punishment. And slowly, Abigail began to feel something she hadn't felt in months. Peace. One evening, as the sky turned orange over the snowy mountains, Abigail sat by the window sewing small pieces of cloth together. Caleb noticed. "What's that?" She looked up shyly. "A blanket. For the baby?" She nodded. Caleb stared at the tiny stitches for a moment before quietly saying, "Looks warm." It was the first time he had spoken about the baby without hesitation. Abigail smiled softly. "Thank you." As the weeks passed, her belly grew larger and the baby inside moved more often. One night she gasped suddenly. Caleb looked up from sharpening his knife. "What's wrong?" She grabbed his hand and placed it gently against her stomach. The baby kicked. Caleb froze. For a moment the giant mountain man looked completely stunned. Then his eyes widened. "It kicked." Abigail laughed softly. "Yes." He slowly pulled his hand away, shaking his head in amazement. "Never felt something like that before." From that day on, something changed in him. He began carving pieces of wood in the evenings. Abigail didn't know what he was making until one morning she walked outside and saw it hanging from a tree branch. A small wooden cradle. Her eyes filled with tears. "You made this?" Caleb shrugged. Figured the kid would need somewhere to sleep. No one had ever done something like that for her. Not even her own family. Months passed. Spring slowly began to melt the snow, revealing green grass beneath the frozen earth. But one afternoon, trouble arrived. Abigail heard horses approaching the cabin. 3 riders appeared on the trail. Caleb immediately stepped outside with his rifle. Abigail watched nervously from the doorway. The men stopped their horses. One of them smirked. "Well, look at this. Caleb Walker playing house." Caleb's voice was cold. "What do you want?" The rider glanced at Abigail's belly. "Heard you took in the Turner girl." Another man laughed. "Town says she's carrying a bastard." Caleb's grip tightened on the rifle. "Say that again." The rider raised his hands mockingly. "Easy, Walker. We're just here to collect something." "What?" The man smiled cruelly. "Her father wants her back." Abigail felt her heart stop. "No." Caleb stepped forward. "She ain't going anywhere." The rider shrugged. Town decided she should come back and face consequences. Caleb's eyes hardened. Town can mind its own business. One of the men reached for his gun. That was a mistake. Caleb fired a warning shot into the snow inches from his horse. The animal reared up in terror. "You got 3 seconds to leave," Caleb said calmly. None of the men doubted him. They turned their horses and rode away quickly. Abigail ran outside. "You protected me." Caleb looked away. "Someone had to." Her voice trembled. "Why?" He hesitated. Then said quietly. Because you deserve better than what they did to you. For the first time since she arrived. Abigail hugged him. Caleb stood frozen at first. Then slowly, carefully, he placed his arms around her. It felt like home. Summer arrived. And one warm night. The baby came. The storm outside was fierce, thunder shaking the mountains. Inside the cabin, Abigail cried out in pain. Caleb had faced wolves, bears, and bandits in his life. But nothing terrified him like that moment. Hours passed. Finally. A baby's cry filled the cabin. Caleb stared in amazement as Abigail held a tiny baby girl wrapped in the blanket she had sewn months earlier. "She's beautiful," Abigail whispered. Caleb smiled. "What's her name?" Abigail looked at him. "Hope." Because that's what he had given her. Hope. Months later, word spread through Red Hollow that Abigail Turner was alive and living peacefully in the mountains. Some people expected tragedy. Instead, they heard something surprising. The feared mountain man had become a protector, a provider, even a father. And the girl who had once been abandoned had finally found a place where she was loved. Not punished. Not shamed. Loved. And high in the mountains, where the wind once carried only loneliness, now there was laughter. Red Heart, if you enjoyed this emotional Wild West story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more powerful frontier romances and unforgettable stories.